There's a place inside, you gotta let it shine, let it go. You don't need to hide. Soul talking. Soul talking. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of my brand new series, Soul Talking. And today I am here with the very beautiful Lindsay. Lindsay is here with Geraldine, her unicorn mug. Apparently, she's giving it a name. Welcome, Lindsay, and thank you so much for doing this podcast with me. It's so interesting to have different people, different stories who are having different journeys. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this today.
You're welcome.
Lindsay is a very unusual character. Well, she says this isn't coming from me. Lindsay lives in Staffordshire. She's got 6 dogs and 6 horses. And she is an equine spinal therapist. I didn't know this bit until she told me, but she's a Grand Prix dressage rider, which is amazing. It basically means that she's really high up in the dressage world of riding. And she describes herself as a bit woo, a bit different, and she's an all-round lovely person. And because she's been on the courses, she's also delved into the world of animal communication and doing some of that as well. So hello, Lindsay. Welcome. It's lovely to have you. Right. Describing yourself as a bit woo. What you said to me, you don't really feel like you ever really you were just a bit different. You've got a dog that's just come out of the cup now.
Yeah, she's just literally Alice in Wonderland.
It's magic. So is it the mug that's called Geraldine or the dog?
No, this is Purdy.
That's brilliant. She just popped out of the mug.
If I'm ever on a Zoom call, she likes to get involved. She'll mill around for a bit and then she'll just wander back into her bed that's next to me. She just likes to be involved.
Oh my goodness. She's absolutely adorable. And you're welcome here, sweetheart. I've just had to work out what it was that was appearing. I should have known that. Anyway, right, Lindsay. So you describe yourself as a bit different, but you never knew why.
No, so
what's that all about?
I always found school super difficult. My mum was very sort of supportive, and she was, well, you just look a bit different, and that's not a bad thing, and maybe it's jealousy or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I don't think it is, because everyone hates me.
Yeah. Do they?
So
that's how you felt. Is that how you felt when you were younger?
Yeah, absolutely. I was bullied mercilessly as a child throughout. My earliest memory at 3, 4 years old. Straight away there was a young boy that was sort of made a beeline for me, and think that he sort of gravitated to me, and then tried to strangle me.
He tried to strangle you?
Yeah, he was poorly, bless him. Maybe he
wasn't some sort of kiss chase in the playground that went a bit wrong?
No, and then it just carried on. So people just...
What, the strangling?
No, the strangling stopped, thankfully. That was intervened by teachers.
Good, yeah, good.
Yeah, people just... I seemed to interest people, and they didn't really know how to take me, although I tried to be quite grey and really stay invisible.
Again, there's always something more going on there that we don't really know.
For children, because obviously they know that something's different, and we're sort of more primal as children, so they know it's different, and therefore they kind of want to attack it a bit. So it carried on, which meant I became really close to animals.
You felt safe with them, Lindsay?
Yeah, and
understood.
Yeah, they just had a non-judgmental energy, and I was always nature, everything that was, of natural world. But I came from a family that was not very animal orientated. My dad was like, you are not having a pet. So I started nagging at probably the age of 8. And I think I got my first cat when I was probably, I don't know, about 13, something like that. It had to be Siamese.
It had to be. Why did it have to be Siamese?
I don't know, it just had to be different. I was like, I've got 3 Chinese cresteds. I've got a Great Dane,
Yeah.
and I've got 2 Russian toy terriers and 3 Chinese cresteds. So they're all a mix of weirdness.
Sounds mayhem there, but it's not. It's so quiet.
They're all quite well behaved because they normally go out and run around with the horses. So they're all fairly quiet. I'm hoping they're going to be quiet this morning.
So the animals, they were really kind of like a sanctuary for you, weren't they? Somewhere for
Yeah.
you to just be who you could be.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of all set to go to the Royal Ballet, and I was heavily into, ballet dancing, and I was with Royal Ballet for, I think,
That's amazing.
from probably about the age of 12, something like that. And then you had years of being a junior associate where my parents had to take me to Birmingham every single weekend. And then you got auditioned from there to go to White Lodge in London, which they said they would take me. I passed the audition, but I didn't want to leave my mum. I was super, super, super close to my mum. She was literally like my soul person. And I just didn't at that age to go. So
Was it something you really, because when we're kids, we can be guided in ways that, like, my parents wanted me to be a vet, and they were pushing me, and academically I don't think I was quite there to be able to do that. And but I think because I wasn't passionate and really wanted to do it. What about you with the dancing? Did you really want to do it, or do you think you were doing it to please?
no, I did really want to do it. My mum got me into it. She said, what would you like to do? Would you like to go to a dance class? Would you like to go swimming? I did lots of things as a kid, but I was always super sporty.
Yeah.
I got into the ballet and I just found it really easy. But I found it really easy because I'm hypermobile.
What does that mean? Hypermobile.
It means that my arms do things like that.
See, I knew you were different.
Yeah. So it's gone on to change my health beyond all imagination.
So what's been going on with your health then?
Well, again, I've always had weird health from a kid. So I used to dread going on school trips because I was like, oh God, please somebody let me sit by the window seat. Otherwise I'm going to just vomit the whole time we're going. Travel, I get seasick in the bath.
Nice vision there.
Yeah, I can get seasick in the bath.
Can you?
God, yeah, motion sickness, anything like that.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah,
so
really.
Basically, you don't bath.
No, I'm just thinking. No, do you know if I love having a bath? I'm like literally a bath person every night. Showers, I have to just soak in it.
Yeah. But I'm imagining you're in the bath, but you've got these inflatable armbands on.
Always be safe, Richard.
Always be safe, even in a bath. Yeah, mine's quite a shallow bath, so I don't have to worry too much. But right, okay. So there's loads of stuff going on there for you.
Yeah.
So you did the ballet, then you didn't do the ballet.
No, so unfortunately, my school, I think they just got bored with all of us, and the teachers are like, oh God, how can we get rid of them? So they decided to do an activities week. So you could choose 3 things that you wanted to do, and you had to see, obviously, if there was enough room, and you would get either a second or third choice. And my first choice was riding horses. I sat my ass in that saddle, and that was it.
Oh, brilliant! There was no turning back for Lindsay after that moment.
No, and my dad, I think, was probably mortified because he was like, "But you're gonna be a ballerina, prima ballerina." I was like, "Not anymore."
Now it's kind of painting a picture of how you went into dressage.
Well,
because it's still dancing. Horses always show me it's dancing.
Originally, I fell into show jumping because I bought a horse that was completely unsuitable.
Right.
I was extremely nervous as a child, hyper vigilant, super amounts of anxiety, but I was really stoic and used to hide it.
Yeah.
bought this horse that I had no business riding. We got completely stitched up with him. Kept him on the yard. He was a 17-1 warm blood. I'd had probably 2 years of riding experience and one horse on on loan that was an ex-race horse. And then all of a sudden went on to this huge warm blood. And I used to get 3/4 of the way down the road and it just used to bolt and come back. And my mum was like, "We you did 15 minutes. Well done. Better than 8-4."
Can you do it quicker next time, love?
Yeah. I mean, it was completely dangerous. So I rang up his previous owner and said, yeah, I can't ride him. Not the owner that sold him to me, but the owner that had imported him as a show jumper. So I fell into show jumping. And then I did 4 years with John Lanny as a rider for him. He was at Arena UK. Got into internationals and then got on the Great Britain squad. Show jumping was very competitive. It was win at all costs. It was not very sympathetic in any way, shape or form to the horses.
No.
It was pretty brutal. Some of the things that I've seen over the years, I just didn't want to be complicit in. And I had a horse that was super talented at flat work. I visited it first in, I think, probably 1999 and went down the centre line and went, I have no idea which way I'm going. I'd only done 4 dressage tests in my life, found myself in the nationals completely out of depth, and then went, oh crap, I've gone the wrong way. Yeah. So then I went show jumping and then had a horse.
Signs must have all been wrong that day.
Yeah, they were 50-50, and yeah, I chose the wrong way. So and then I just had
that'd be me.
and got into dressage full time because I couldn't come to terms with what it took to win in show jumping anymore.
Right. So you said that you were always sporty. Were you competitive?
Oh, I lived, ate, slept, breathed it. When I first got into dressage, I became nervous. I never had nerves, but I was nervous about not being able to fulfill my potential if an outside influence caused a problem. So all the sporty things I'd ever done, if I wanted to get better, I just worked harder and I made it.
So I'm just imagining you at netball at school and I'm imagining this girl going, it's my ball.
Well, I was
that you, Lindsay? You can be honest here.
No, honestly, it wasn't, because I was never brave enough. But inwardly, if I wanted to get better at something, I just worked until it happened. And I found it crippling with horses that it doesn't matter how hard you work, it doesn't matter how good you are, if it doesn't come together on that day or you don't have the horsepower, it's not going to happen. And that was a really, really, really hard learning curve.
Right, okay. And then it's all been about the dressage since then.
Yeah, pretty much. So
dancing with horses.
Yeah. It's kind of natural. I don't really know. I didn't come to it earlier.
I know. Well, looking at it and listening to you, it seems like the perfect place to go.
Yeah.
Did you do dressage with music? Because I'd love that. I'd love to do that.
I do, and the judges don't really like my music.
Was it drum and bass?
No, it wasn't.
Parading in drum and bass.
Rihanna, and it was Beyonce. So one of my horses that loves it, he did an advanced medium regional to Rihanna, We Found Love. And he's got
that's a great song to do it to.
Yeah, and he's got mega extended trot. So the louder the music, the more he gives it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do enjoy doing that, definitely.
And then you also did Beyonce as well.
Yes. Yeah, we did a bit of Beyonce. It's be rude not to, wouldn't it?
I love it. Matt's always talking about, because I mean, Matt's done dressage to a high level, and he's kind of like, he always talks to me about doing something with dressage to music, and he's always thinking, what song would I use? What song would I use? And I'm like, just find something that really inspires you, because that brings it out, doesn't it, on the day? Yeah,
absolutely.
I think music and horses together is just beautiful. I really do. I music down at the stables when I'm grooming, doing massage, anything. I just love having the music, and they seem to love it. Right, okay. Now, so all of this is going on. You've had all these experiences. And what was the situation with your mum?
So my mum was my absolute, everyone says this.
Said she was your rock.
She was, but she was a mega, mega, mega person. And if any of my friends are watching this, that I know what they'll say, they'll all go, yeah, she was. She was collectively known in the horse world as Mumphy. We never called her Mump. So was you right, Mumphy?
Mumphy.
Mumphy, always Mumphy.
Love it.
She was a mental health nurse.
Right.
Was just unflappable. She was dead glam. You could smell her before you saw her. She smelled divine always. We would be shopping and say, oh my God, I've got to stop and ask you, what's your perfume? Yeah, she was a mega person and my absolute soulmate. So yeah, I had problems with kidney stones and stuff like that. My health was starting to become a problem now. A lot of kidney problems. I'd had really bad bouts of tinnitus.
Right.
Just weird stuff. And my mum went through it all. At one point, they thought I'd got overactive bladder syndrome. So I was having biopsies, and yeah, it was really impactful. And she was amazing at just never flapping. She was a huge support. I could always talk to her. I could talk to her about anything. We were absolute soulmates. We spent every single day together pretty much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then in 2015, I was in hospital with kidney stones, and I remember looking at her and I said, "You're not very well." And she said, "No, I'm absolutely fine." She says, "I said, you've lost weight." She said, No. She said, "I'm just worried about you." And it was really weird. I remember probably 6 months before that, we were driving back from it was an appointment that I'd had. And I just got a really strange feeling. And I said to her, "Don't ever leave me," I said, "with all these weirdos on the planet, will you?" And she was like, "Oh God, I'm not going anywhere." And I just had a really strange feeling. And when I came out of hospital, I wasn't a very emotional person at all. I don't think I cried for years and years and years. And I came out of hospital and I said to my then partner, I said, "Something really bad is coming." And he said, "What?" I burst into tears and I said, "Something really bad's coming. And I think it's to do with my mum." And he said, "What are you talking about? She's been to the gym this morning. She was fine." And then I think probably the next month I tried to make her go to the doctor. She wasn't having any of it. She was very much avoidance, typical nurse.
Yeah.
And then it became apparent that there was something very wrong. The rest of my family was sort of like, okay, well, yeah, there is something wrong. She was admitted to hospital. Had an operation, and it just they rang us and said she's got cancer and it's everywhere. I knew it was cancer.
Oh my goodness.
I knew it was cancer before we had any of the tests back, and I was convinced it was bowel cancer, but I thought she'd be okay, and it wasn't. It was ovarian, and it was just, I remember taking the call. I'd come back from hospital to quickly get the horses in. She'd gone down to theatre. She should have been in there for about 3 hours, and within me getting back home, they'd phoned to say my dad was hysterical and just said it's everywhere. So yeah, she was gone then within 4 days.
Lindsay.
Yeah, I know. So it was absolutely life shattering because she was ill. And it was very much, how dare everybody else carry on with their life? Don't they realise what's happened? That life has changed, the world's turned on its axis, and it was just so bizarre.
Well, it's not just that you'd lost your, which it seems to me from what you've talked about, your best friend.
Oh God,
you've lost your mother, that nurturing mother. You've lost your best friend. And you know what? As you said, it's never been easy for you anyway, with other people around you. You found that place with your mum. I think that's so, I hear so many people saying about how their mums are nightmares, problems. I had a difficult mother. I love to hear about it being completely different to that. It gives us hope. you know, I would have loved your mum. I bet she'd do. I can imagine from what the picture you painted of her, she sounds absolutely amazing. Well, still is,
We look exactly the same. I remember a picture of her when she was 16. I was like, "Mum, why is my picture in black and white?" She went, "That's me." I was like, what? Even now, my friends will go, oh my God. It's sometimes I sound just like her. It's weird.
Yeah,
Even
but
my
did
dad,
she have a Geraldine?
no, she didn't.
There you go. So you've got your own unique spin on it, girl, there. That must have been really, really difficult. As I was saying, it's like it's that grieving process as well, and it can shape and change. As how old were you at the time?
I'd been 35, but I mean that
Long time to have her around, isn't it? As that close together,
it, life's weird. It doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you
you
need.
need.
And everything was starting to come to a head. I'd been in probably about a 10-year relationship. That broke down primarily because he didn't want to be up here anymore, spotted an opportunity that was a bit of a chink in my armor, to cause a problem between myself, him, and my dad.
Right.
Said we need to move, and he started, trying to push this. Within 2 months, he was not remotely helpful with, didn't want to be at the funeral. I'd probably carried him through bankruptcy for probably about, I don't know, 6 years. And he just decided to try and move everything to London. And I said no. So it kind of started off a chain of events. And then my dad was diagnosed with Parkinson's. And then I started to get pelvic pain. And I was like, can lightning really strike twice? So I thought I'd better get it looked at. And that's when my really started to unravel.
When it all started to really unravel. What do you mean?
So I went to see a gynecologist. She was like, I don't really know what it is. Could be a hernia, could be endometriosis, and I was like, you don't know what it is. So no, you're not doing a triage operation. Did a lot of research, found some symptoms that I thought fit, which was pelvic congestion syndrome. Took myself off to London, the Whiteley Clinic. They said, yes, you've got refluxing veins in your pelvis. We're going to put coils in and embolize them. And I was booked in to have it done. And I thought, but why is that happening? So
much is happening.
Yeah. And I thought, I'll do a bit more research. And someone said, don't have it done until you found out if you've got something rare called compression syndromes. And basically that's where you've got massive veins in your body that are being compressed by your own body structure, and it all ties in with the hypermobility. So I don't produce the correct type of collagen, and it's all throughout your body. Collagen is in every cell. So making my veins super bendy. So my left renal vein was crushed, and so is my iliac vein. A lot of toing and froing, trying to find people who could help. Most of the time you get sent to Germany. He's killed quite a few people and ended up killing a very good friend of mine. Unfortunately, I found someone on a Facebook group and she went, don't go to Germany, go to this guy in the UK. And had the first operation in 2018. It's huge surgery. It's open, what's the rooftop surgery.
Right.
And then it worked for about 6 weeks, and then my body collapsed again. And then I had another one in 2019, which went horribly wrong.
Yeah. Was this the near-death experience that you were talking about?
Yeah.
You've talked to me about before on the course.
Yeah. So I was going through a stage spiritually where I just thought I was cursed. It was literally a case of walking outside going, right, what are we having today?
But the thing is, Lindsay, you've always been spiritual. You've always believed in something.
It's not the door all the time, and I'm a funny mix of, I love psychology.
But you're also scientific, aren't you, as well?
Yeah, and I've always sort of been a difficult mix, but it got to the point I've had people here to look at. The place I live is really to do with Wicca. So I've had people to look at ley lines, all sorts, because it was just literally day after day after day something rubbish was happening.
Yeah, it's the energy and finding that balance. So I guess really I get all of that, but it's about you finding your balance as well. It's your intention of what you're putting out. But when you're getting so much coming at you from all directions that's crushing you,
yeah, it's
Do you know,
I was definitely,
relationship struggles, your mum, losing your mum, your best
yeah,
friend, and then all these other things going on. It's enough to test anybody, yeah?
I was definitely tuned into radio rubbish, and I was just attracting more rubbish. So um yeah, I sort of I didn't listen. I went to the operation and we were a little bit late getting there, and he put his head round the door and he said, "Come on," he said, "you're supposed to be in surgery." And I just thought, this is
Get
wrong.
on with it, love.
I just thought, this is wrong. And my mum came into my head and she went, "It's never good when surgeons are rushing." And I walked myself down to theatre and just thought, this just doesn't feel right. And I thought, well, it's not going to feel right. You know that you're going to spend time in intensive care. You know that this is one of the most flops you can have. They give you an epidural to try and control it. It's, you know, it's normal. Went under and it just went all really, really wrong.
What happened? I mean, briefly, what actually happened? Did you have any experiences while you were under?
Yeah, so I'm still going through it all now in the sense of I didn't have my notes, and I've had them recently, and I now know exactly what happened in theatre, except for
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
So he obviously, you've been cut open. He was getting on with the surgery, and from the notes you can see that he nicked a piece of prephneric fat which is surrounding the kidney, and it sort of, I think it obscured his view a bit. They
yeah.
made another lateral cut. Something went wrong, and I lost 12.5 pints of blood, which is like seven.
Oh my goodness.
Peri arrest, major
Oh,
hemorrhage,
see.
and then obviously he was in a coma for a bit. Um, but it was super strange because I woke up at one point and saw him covered in blood, pushing his cap back. And everyone was like, "You didn't really see that." And I'm like, well, now I know I did, because
Yeah,
obviously I hadn't got enough product in my body that was keeping me asleep. So they take
yeah.
you,
Bring
they
you
then,
out.
yeah, they gas you back to sleep because obviously you're not staying
Yeah,
asleep. So there's blood in there to keep the drugs in to keep you asleep. So
yeah.
and then I would kind of wake up a little bit and go, I'm not in recovery, something's gone wrong. And then I would go back to sleep. Then I would wake again slightly and go, "Stop putting me to sleep." It was really strange. My subconscious kept keeping up with it, picked up the thread every time in the same place. So my
Yeah.
completely knocked out, but my subconscious knew exactly what was going on.
Mm.
I was trying to make sense of it, and then woke up with an intubation tube in, and wasn't very happy about that.
No.
No, and then yeah,
So
they
difficult. That sounds quite full on. I so much has happened.
you
Let's
know,
just bring it back to the animals here. So so you found your heart horse.
yeah. So he was bought in an auction. Didn't think I'd get him, but we did. Dad bought him for me, and he was just amazing. We won like 7 hour regionals. He won probably 3 or 4. He's been to the nationals 3 or 4 times. He was just an amazing horse. But then, unfortunately, I wasn't riding, so he developed kissing spine. We knew he'd got closed vertebrae when I bought him, but the riding
Right,
was
okay.
keeping him sound.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
okay. So actually for him it was better. You see, this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, we all talk about what we do with our horses. And riding isn't something that they're that bothered about. You know, they've been held in captivity. We're doing all these different things with them, disciplines with them. But actually, being in captivity, we have a responsibility that we have to keep them exercised and work them for the problems that can happen in their body. And, you know, I guess for him, then, you're not riding, that made that worse, did it?
yeah, absolutely. And I could have given him to somebody to ride, but this is kind of where I'm at now with a bit of riding, in the sense of I used to be sort of, you know, I've trained with some really, really amazing
Yeah,
people,
you have.
but it's getting better. But a lot of the time, they don't train for longevity of the horses. Social media and everything is very much on, you know, neck positioning now with dressage horses, but a lot of people don't really know how to train for soundness. And they become commodities.
We
So
talk about it all the time,
yeah, I
these
didn't really
horses.
him to go away and be just used for somebody, for them to further their career with him or whatever. So he stayed with me, but I decided to rehab him. I wasn't going to do surgery. Obviously, having lost a kidney myself now, which was done in an emergency, I just didn't want to put him through it. And the surgery for kissing spine is brutal.
Yeah,
So,
I've got clients going through it at the moment with the
yeah,
horses.
it's a really dividing sort of topic.
Mm.
Has its place, but at the same time, from what I know now,
There's no guarantees anyway, is there, with it?
and the problem is you're essentially it for me. It's a question of, am I willing to put my horse through that kind of surgery? Of course I am, if they are uncomfortable. But if it's just so that I can ride them, then it becomes a personal question for me, which I'm not willing to put my horse through. So
I just want to explain to people, can we explain what kissing spine is for people that are watching that probably don't know?
Yeah,
It is like it sounds, isn't it? Two spines literally almost rubbing and kissing.
Yeah, so you've got obviously the vertebra
Vertebrae.
from the tension of muscles around, and it can be anything that causes it. Can be how they works, it can be the hereditary, they now think it can be
Started too young in racing is a massive thing.
vertebra starts to become very close. You'll see white of remodeling on x-rays, so it becomes painful. Then you can get facet joint problems at the bottom, which involve nerve impingement, and then it starts to affect the entirety of the body. And it's a really, really difficult thing, depending on how quick you catch it, how advanced it is, what is it's causing problems with the horse. It's really difficult to untangle it all. But I decided
all different, yeah, different horses.
Yeah, he's been rehabbed for a year.
What's his name?
Fonzie.
Fonzie, as in Happy Days.
Yeah, he's the Fonzie. He's cool.
Oh, I love it. I used to love watching that. Oh,
Yeah.
Fonzie sounds beautiful.
Well, he's super, super sharp. Again, all my horses are weird. They're all a bit sharp. They're all a bit quirky.
It's that energy of yours, girl.
I know. I seem to do it with men as well. Maybe there's a lesson there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's done really well. Now I'm into thoracic sling territory, because the work that I've done over his back has shut things off in front.
Yeah.
I've gone really, really, really down a journey with him of
well, you wanted to. You've put the effort in to learn. It's like that little girl doing a ballerina or being a ballet dancer, or that girl, being passionate about sport and wanting to succeed and putting it all in. That's you all the way through, isn't it? Getting the understanding, what's going on, you finding the answers.
Yeah, and it's changed how I feel. So I've bought a Spanish horse now, and I do want to go back to Grand Prix, but I want to go back to Grand Prix the way I want to go back to Grand Prix. So training a horse for longevity, listening more. I can't unsee the things that I've seen. I go out, look at horses' backs, and that's what I do.
Well, I remember when you came out to ours. Yeah, you were that. Here she is. The specialist has arrived.
It is really
guiding you away from doing that and back into animal communication at times. Yeah, because it was all just so natural for you. So having him has been. You said to me in the bio that you gave me that it made a big difference. Well, it's helped you. It's opened doors to your spirituality far more.
Yeah,
through the experience of your heart horse and having him.
Yeah, so I think going through all the surgical stuff, going through the facts that, it appears that I was, peri-arrest, it kind of made me closer to the horses. The communication was a natural way. It heightens your awareness to suffering. I look at horses and I can't turn a blind eye anymore. I've always picked up on energies, and you look at so many horses in the competition world, and some of them are so miserable and so unhappy, and they are silent soldiers. They just keep going.
How do you feel about that?
Awful. I can't do it anymore. It feels like almost like the slave trade. I mean, I'm vegetarian.
Because you're somebody that was doing all of that.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you're not.
it's put me into a massive crossroads. I was completely, totally, utterly competitive, not anymore. I want to win, but I don't want to win at the expense of my horses ever.
Where's that? Where was the turning point for you that made you realise that through having Fonzie?
Yeah, he's
Seeing
always.
what happened to him.
Yeah, I remember when I lost my mum, and a month after I'd qualified at the regionals, and then we were going to the nationals, and everyone was really supportive, but there were a lot of people around me. It was really alien because my mum wasn't there, and it just felt awful, and there was so much I wanted to help, but it was so difficult. I climbed aboard him, and
everything.
everything. I just wanted to get on him, get on Fonzie, and just be away from everybody. And he's always the person that I go back to, always has been, and he's been there no matter what.
They give you your freedom. I always say it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he's putting up with my health problems have been so tricky to understand, and it's like being, I hate to use this word, but it's like being quietly disabled. And he's been going through an awful lot with nerve pain and everything. And he just, they're always there for you. They always give back to you, even if rubbish days themselves.
Yeah.
So it's been a bit of a labour of love to want to get him back right. But it's been, the communication has helped, because you can't, no vet can find out what's wrong with him. It's nerve impingement. It's taken a lot of talking to him, communicating with him, listening, picking his energies about what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was through him, through the experiences, you being scientific, wanting answers, wanting to find out more, and determined, a bookworm, really getting into everything to find out. Is that what led you to the courses? My courses?
Yeah. Before, I was never in a position where I wanted to. I did counselling and therapy myself. I did 6 sessions of it because I thought, I've lost my mum. I've been through a 12-year relationship. Then I got married. Then I got divorced. Lost a body organ. I'm attracting crap to me. There is some reason why this keeps happening. Someone needs to point out what it is I'm doing that's a repeating pattern. So that was the psychology side of it.
Yeah.
So I saw her for 6 sessions, and she went, "You're one of the most together people I know. I'm going to send you to a friend of mine. She's a healer." And I said to her, she said, "Why are you here?" And I said, "Well, I'm obviously repeating a pattern. I'm attracting the wrong people."
The counsellor said to come along.
Well, she said,
she gave me a discount voucher.
She said, "You know what's wrong with you?" And I went, "Do I?" She went, "Yeah, you're an empath." And I went, "I'm not, because I don't like people." She went, "Stop right there.
You are an empath."
Being an empath and having compassion to want to use it are 2 different things. And that's what you've confused. She went, "I'm sorry." She said, "But you've been told this before. And the sooner you accept it, the easier your life will be."
Like, get out, you empath.
So, yeah, I do healing every 2 weeks with her. We've done some amazing meditations. And I saw your course. Of course, it's, perfect because it's horses and it's the empathic communication side.
Yeah.
And it's like living a new life.
Yeah.
You start to think with the universe, if you believe the law of attraction and everything else. When you tune into the correct frequencies and you stop blocking who you are and just lean into it and accept it, then it was obviously the right thing to do to
but also but also about you being around the right kind of people. Okay, because I know that you steer towards the animals more than people, but and I keep saying it to people, it's that tribe. It's finding that tribe of people. I know you like your own space, but it was good for you. You turned up at that course. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget anybody on any of the courses. You're sitting there sort of, I remember where you were sitting to the left of us, round on the corner with your back to the forest scene, and you were very quiet. And I was like, "Is she all right?" I mean, you came in and you were quite talkative, but then you went very quiet. And I was like, she's very interesting. She's just processing it all and listening.
I try. It's something I've learned. I'm quite when I'm in a tribe of people that I understand or
Yeah,
hold space and are safe. I'm a
yeah,
really talkative person. And I try not to be too much. I try and let things go on around me and just sit and wait a little bit. Probably from school years and everything else, because I am still somebody who people notice and don't always know how to take me. So
yeah.
I back a little bit,
Yeah.
so not making people feel weird.
You didn't make anybody feel that way at all. You were you're a lovely, lovely person, but it was, everybody's different and reacts different when they come on the course. So you turned up at the course. What about your experiences on the course for people listening from that first day? So do a lot of classroom work on the first day. How was that for Miss Scientific?
I think a lot of
I think that
people,
was all right for you, wasn't it?
right? I mean, I'd already done a lot of meditation and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So I think a lot of people want to know there's two sides to communication. There's the woo side. How do you explain that?
yeah.
And there's this side, people go, yeah, but what is it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
but
you
how
can't see it. You can't see it. So it's like, so here we are. There it is. Look.
exactly. So I think depending on what type of person you are, you can get an awful lot out of it because you'll go on the meditation side of it, which brings things out in you that even if you didn't want to do animal communication is super helpful because it takes you more on a journey and you're in a safe space with people, which I think is really important because there are a lot of people out there that you wouldn't necessarily want to be that vulnerable with.
Did the
Um,
meditations take you on a journey on the course?
Absolutely, they always do. I love being in touch with my subconscious, but I think for some people it can be a little bit frightening.
Yeah.
There's some people on the course that are a little bit tearful and stuff. And when you're with you and it's a safe space and you're with people who are,
Mm.
it's really cathartic, but it can be a little bit shocking.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, because you're in a public space and you're crying.
Yeah.
Uh,
But good tears. It's good
oh yeah,
tears.
absolutely. And I think if you don't want to do anything with the communication side, even if you didn't with animals, it still takes you on a journey yourself, and it'll your everyone's meditation is different, and it takes you to your subconscious that will answer questions whether you want them to be answered or not.
Yeah.
And then there's the practical side of it, which you actually step by step take people through how to do it, because people go, yeah,
Yeah.
but so it was really, really helpful because it gives you a step by step process of how to do it.
And we did try to make you cry. We did try. Me and Matt held you down and said, cry, woman, cry. It's
Right, yeah.
like, you will cry. You will cry. You
Oh,
didn't cry.
dude.
But no, but part of the course is about letting go.
Yeah.
And I've talked about it on other episodes with different students. But people come because they love animals. People come along because say again.
I'm a control freak.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
People come along for lots of different reasons, and you're right. And it, not just for horses, it's for dogs, all animals, cats, everything that they come along for. They are empathic. That's what I look for in the students, is that they've got that level of empathy to
Yeah.
come along and be part of it all. The rest of it's down to them. A lot of people want to come on the courses but don't feel they can because they don't want to be in a group. They
Yeah.
want to do one to one, which I can't do at the moment. And so everybody's different. And you put a lot of effort into that course, Lindsay, because it was difficult for you, but you did it
I think it actually helps though. I mean, one
without the
to
tears, but
one, I think if you're further into it and you've really been doing it for years and everything else, I think to fine tune it, I think would be really, really helpful. But I think a lot of people are a little bit dabbling in this and don't know which way to go. So I think being in a group where you're all sort of a little bit at the same starting point, it's super,
yeah,
super. You're not afraid to make mistakes. You learn
yeah,
off each other, and it
yeah.
feels supportive, and it's not so spotlight on you, which I think is probably more helpful.
Right. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. From a confidence point of view. And
Yeah.
there's so many different practical exercises that we do. Is there anything from that day with the practical exercises that stands out to you? I know you said the meditations were really helpful and took you on a journey because you love that. Anything else about the course, or do I need to get the course book and show you?
It's etched in my brain.
Etched, God, for sure.
I think the aura stuff was really, really helpful.
Okay.
But the first time you go and see a horse,
Yeah, on the second day.
yeah, and you actually put it into practice, because everyone does, you still doubt yourself a little bit, but when you actually just start getting into it, you're like, they can actually do this. This is, oh, okay, this is working. And you the different energetic fields, and it's systematic as well. But you can, and then when you get feedback, obviously because you know the horse, and so does Matt.
Yeah,
it's really gratifying, and you're like, oh my God, I'm actually good at this.
you walked in, because I remember you walked into the stable. Now, you came and worked initially with, did you work with Max or Ella?
No, and it was really weird, because originally I was slightly drawn to Ella,
Yeah.
but I feel her energy was right for me, whereas Max I was straight away drawn to. He'd got my kind of energy, and even going and buying horses now.
And your kind of personality, actually.
Yeah, and even, well, like attracts like, doesn't it? But even going buying horses now, you make mistakes in life, and you're drawn to things because there are. It's like having pages of an app open that are running programs behind what your conscious.
Yeah.
And you don't know why you do the things you do, but the horses are a mirror to you, and they show you the reasons why you do. And I was straight away drawn to him, and I was like, but why am I drawn to him? And then going through the communication, I was like,
Amazing, because you walked in with him and you just stood there. I mean, you seemed like you were going to be nervous at first from the first day about going out there, but you just walked in and it just all happened. I always say to people, too much thinking. When you're there, it just happens, and you proof of that, because you were nervous going out there to do it. Because I guess everybody is, because I'm going to be there, and Matt, we know the horses. I know what it's like going to work with clients when they're all standing around the stable door. It's quite daunting. It will knock anyone's if they haven't got a lot of confidence, you're going to feel it at that moment. But we always make it really, we try to make it so easy for everybody.
Well, you and Matt are, I think the course is very determined by you two. So if there was different people running it with different energies, it would be a lot more intimidating. But you are really open people, so you feel safe as somebody doing the course, as a participant, to be in a safe space. So you're not so worried about disappointing you or Matt or making mistakes. You don't want to yourself, because you want to be good at doing it. But you're encouraged always to just don't overthink it, just go and do it, which I think is good.
You've got such the right attitude, and everything that's happened in your life that's led you to that place is really powerful stuff, Lindsay. And it's kind of like, it's always I always look at you and I feel that you're somebody that's constantly, you are moving forward. Yes, you have your hurdles, and you've had a lot of hurdles, and and there's a lot of people out there that's also had a lot of hurdles, and we find our way through it. That's how we learn, and that's how we grow, and that's how we evolve. Now, all these experiences, as a kid that was going to be a ballet dancer, for goodness sakes, she gets to this point in her life, standing in a stable, feeling that energy and actually communicating with an animal that you absolutely are so passionate about, Max. Yeah, horses in general. Wow, what a journey.
And it's weird, because I'm training to be a judge now as well, and I'm going to implode the system from the inside out.
Do you get to wear a wig? Oh no, you don't mean a judge in a court.
No. So I mean, I could wear a wig.
Maybe you don't need to. You've got loads of hair.
Maybe the competitors would like it. I don't know. But you can't.
So you're training to be a judge?
Yeah, and it's changed completely from being someone who was so technical, who was so German trained, who was now I look at horses in a completely different way. And I look at them, from an energetic point of view. And there are a lot of things in British dressage, and this might disappoint people. There are a lot of things that are not pretty.
Yeah, but you're an animal communicator. You're going to be there communicating with them while you're judging them. You'll be
Stop,
judging the
stop moving the bit around in your mouth. You'll get better marks.
yeah. But you know what? There could be something really good out of this because you're going to be able to understand more than ever while you're watching them how they've been treated, what's going on. Will that influence you?
Well, it can't influence what I see when I judge, but I think the sport needs to move in a different way. And you're only going to be able to affect change if you're in a position to do so.
That's what
And
we're all doing, isn't it? That's
yeah,
what we're doing. That's the whole point of doing the courses, talking about animal communication, about animals being sentient beings, having the same rights as us, and the difficulties they have in captivity. We are there speaking for them, always being their voice. And that's what you're doing.
I think the world now needs it more than ever because although we're in a situation where we're more able to be communicative towards each other, we're actually more selfish as humans than we've ever been. Everything is quicker, faster, commodities. Everything is about achieving. It's funny. It's like it hides in plain sight because although we're supposedly more accepting of things, I think we're actually less accepting. And
Yeah, it's a very good point.
yeah, and horses, suffer in silence a lot of the time.
Well, so do all animals.
Yeah, they do.
I guess horses are it's unusual because we interact with them in a different way because we actually ride them.
Yeah.
And it's not a natural thing to happen for horses. We don't jump on our dogs like that, but I think all animals are compromised in some way by us.
Yeah, I agree, and I think we're moving technology so fast, and everything is
Mm,
we're moving away from basics of everything in life, and just being still, listening, and there's so much
meditating.
noise. Yeah, there's so much noise around us day to day.
Oh, absolutely.
Tune in anymore, and we don't see. And there, a lot of the time, everyone talks about it. Oh, you've got to do the right thing for your animals and all this, but I think people fool themselves, and really they want to do the right thing for them because they want a horse to ride, they want to compete, they want to wear the latest stuff. But actually, if you drown all of that out and you just listen and you go back to basics and you look at what they really are, they teach you so much. And it's a good thing in life at the moment. There are so many people struggling with mental health.
Yeah.
This course, even if you don't want to take it into animal communication, will show you an awful lot about yourself, and it does put you on a path.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what we always try to do. Life is changing. It's a very busy world, like you say. There is a lot of noise. And it's about meditation, it's about grounding ourselves, balancing, constantly rebalancing ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, and finding our inner peace. It all starts with ourselves. We talk about changes and helping the animals. It starts with changing us, looking at ourselves.
Yeah.
It's usually us that need to do something about us. It's not usually the animals that are the problem, it's us. When we look at us and make the changes, everything will be so much easier, no matter what hurdles are thrown. Lindsay, what happens? I mean, I'm going to wrap up in a minute, but I mean, it's just been so interesting listening to all of this. What are your plans? You say about from the judging point of view, but let's take that to the spiritual side. Where are you going to go with your spiritualism? I mean, from doing the course, where next for you? Because that's what people are going to want to know. Where next for her? And where's the dog? And where's your cup? They want to know answers, dude. There's a lot of questions here. There's your cup, right?
Well, I'm going to give it all up, become a stripper or an OnlyFans person. No, I'm not.
You see, that's what I had that vision.
I want to join up
Ooh.
with I want to join up the spinal therapy work, the body work, the I follow a lady that probably some people have heard about, and I'd like to go to America and do her nerve release course.
Yeah,
She's Leilani. She's very spiritual as well, and I think there is a need for horses that,
bring it
yeah,
together.
and I think there's a gap where you've got horses that are performance horses that vets are great at doing a lot of things, but there is that gap where you've looked at scans, you've looked at, I know in my body, just because it says something on a scan doesn't mean that that translates into your body. Everyone's different.
Yeah,
Problems that are causing issues that the vets can't diagnose.
yeah.
And I think coupled with nerve release, thoracic sling work, physio work, body posturing work. I'd like to go
Communication.
and the communication of feeling the energy, which will take me either into spinal work with this particular horse, either into nerve impingement work or into postural work. Just listen and he'll tell me which way I need to go. So
See, that works wonderfully, doesn't it? That works so. What a great combination to bring it all together. And I love these stories of people that are quite scientific, that find their spiritualism, their spiritual side, and then they develop it. And then they realize that actually the two can work together in partnership. I love hearing.
It's a funny thing because I've always been really interested in the law of attraction. And I'm like, but how, but how, but how, but how? But it's all the same way. I mean, if you look at horsey people, Tristan Tucker, Monty Roberts, all of them, they're kind of doing body work patterns that communicate with the horse's body, that put it in a certain state, that releases nerves, and they don't always know why it works, but they're all variances of a theme packaged in a certain way. But
all a form of communication.
Yeah.
It's just whether we lean into their soul from a spiritual point of view more, or we lean more into their behavior and their herd mentality instincts as a species.
And I think, like I say, I've always been interested in law of attraction. And once you get in touch with your spiritual side, once you get into flow, all of the things that are marketed out there are all a variance of spirituality. It is just about moving with life. The universe keeps giving you the same questions until you answer it properly.
You answer them. Absolute same hurdles. I've seen this hurdle. Why is that there again? Except this time it's even bigger. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think just as a person, it makes you around a person. And you live a more peaceful life.
Yeah. And that's hopefully where you're at.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
With Geraldine and all your dogs and all your horses.
Yeah.
You're such a wonderful person. You really are. And for you to share, not just with me, but with everybody else about your life in such depth and your health conditions. This girl certainly had some hurdles, and you know what?
Yeah.
You're just careering through them all. You're smashing them to pieces and just getting through it all because from your spiritual journey and who you are really, the end is never the end. So we just take these hurdles and we keep going, getting through them and learning, developing and peeling off the layers.
Yes. And I think, you have to have hope in life. And I think if you're not in touch with yourself spiritually, and that, I did not like people at all, but that you are linked to every person on the planet. You're linked to the end. People say to me, you don't really believe in that stuff, do you? And I say, but do you believe the radio? You can't see it. You just turn a dial and you're suddenly playing music because you happen to that frequency. It's just about getting in frequency and listening and being at peace. And that's God.
Exactly. It's no different to us listening to what we're told on the news, is it? And what the government says, and we just buy and believe it all, a lot of people. We've got to find our own way in life, and being spiritual is a personal, private journey that we
Go back.
go on, isn't it? Where we find the answers for ourselves. We're not told them, we find them for ourselves. Yes, you come on the courses to be part of something, to learn, but it's about what you put in and what you explore and want to explore is where you find your answers.
And I
And
think everyone's getting personal from it, and you start on your own journey. And it's a hard thing to get into, but I would encourage anyone, if they are interested in this kind of thing. Not everyone's story is the same. The pathway you go on is the same, but it's hard to know where to start. So if you want to be in a group of people that will hold a safe space for you, you'll have fun. If you know nothing else, you'll have a great time, but it will start you on your journey, and you're on that path to then go whichever way you need to go.
Wonderful, thank you. Bless you. And also you'll get some nice cake as well. Remember the cake?
Yeah, that wrecked my diet.
I know, but you still had it.
I
You
did.
still ate it.
Yeah, especially the.
Lindsay, thank you so much for taking all this time out today, because I know you're busy. But thank you.
Made Charlotte muck out, so it's fine.
So you've got a day off from it all.
Yeah.
You can't muck out with those nails anyway, girl. What's going on?
I know. I need them redoing.
Well, it's been absolute joy talking with you, listening to you, and you sharing your life. Thank you so much for offering to do it.
Oh, very well.
Thank
Pleasure.
you, Lindsay. Next week, we'll have another student sharing her experiences from her soul, and about her life and what's been going on for them and their experiences on the course. But for this week, we'll leave this with thank you so much, Lindsay. Take care of yourselves. I will catch up with you at some point, and then hopefully with everybody else, and find out where you're at. But for now, thank you so much, Lindsay.
Bye.
Take care, and bye, everybody. Bye.